Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get right to it. First up on the list, an actual correction from the last program. We actually talked about an actual viewer actually pointed this out, that the particular Club Sport R8 here, the wagon version, the new Holden generation of automobiles, which is kind of is what basically our Chevrolet SS here is in the States, even though it was originally derived over there in Australia. This particular vehicle will get the 455 brake horsepower normally aspirated LSA V8, but the only version that gets the supercharged version is the GTS. And the GTS doesn't make 455 brake horsepower, it makes quite a bit more. 580 brake horsepower, 545 pounds-feet of torque. So thanks for keeping us honest on that deal. A little misstep on my part. Actually got the wrong power numbers on these vehicles. Now, let's get to some of the news. The new Porsche 918 Spyder is actually coming out very soon. Got official Porsche numbers on what this vehicle is all about. A originally derived and completely Porsche-designed hybrid system will be going on this particular automobile. Now, they have really done some extensive testing. In fact, I've actually seen some recent pictures in the past week of this vehicle actually testing in the United States. Out in California, a pair of these mules actually wandering around over there. Let's get to the heart of the beast and what this vehicle is all about. It has a 4.8 liter normally aspirated V8 that is mated to a 115 kilowatt engine, actually electric engine. The Porsche is actually calling it an electric turbo. The engine, actually, the V8 works on its own in a lot of situations, and this is just built to boost power for that particular engine. Now, it also has got a 95 kilowatt engine that actually runs the front wheels, and there's a PDK gearbox in the rear, 7 speeds for the rear-wheel drive part. The front-wheel drive part actually runs on its entirely own gearbox and actually disconnects from the vehicle at speeds over 235 kilometers an hour or 146 miles an hour. So pretty sophisticated piece of kit. The car's mainly built completely out of carbon fiber, a lot of trick pieces. It is a heavyweight vehicle, obviously with the electric drivetrain and whatnot. The car weighs upwards of 3,700 pounds. But that engines and all the combined electrics and gasoline versions put out 887 brake horsepower and can do 0 to 60 in around 3 seconds, or 0 to 62, that is. Pretty fast piece of kit, and it's, like I said, a lot of aero tweaks and things like that that Porsche's really been working on. This vehicle will be coming out very soon. We'll have official pricing numbers coming out soon. It's going to be quite pricey, and I cannot wait to see a head-to-head version between this, the LaFerrari, and the P1. Porsche keeps saying a little bit that their car isn't as quick as those two cars are, mainly in the high-speed sections, but the low-speed section, this thing makes quite a bit of grunt and can come out of corners pretty doggone quickly. Be exciting to hear official numbers of what this thing can do around the Nordschleife loop versus the LaFerrari and the P1. Next up on the list, well, let's get back to some of the fun stuff. This Dubai Police Department is just the most awesome police department on the planet, as we showed off a bunch of their vehicles, and I think you already know where I'm going with this vehicle, where their next Dubai police car is going to be. We've obviously shown the Aventador, and then that charged up to the actual Ferrari FF, because they figured they probably needed an all-wheel drive car. Big American muscle, how about an SS Camaro? And, of course, they got a Bentley Continental GT. And they've also shown off this Mercedes-Benz SLS, because you need a gull-wing police car, obviously. And, of course, the 177, the most rarefied Aston Martin ever built. Of course, you're going to need one of those as a squad car. And, of course, you probably know what's coming down the pike. The, I don't know, king of the supercars, one of the most advanced automobiles on the planet. The highest top speed of any other car on the planet, or at least its brother it is. Yes, of course, they now have a Bugatti Veyron. Interesting to see what... I can't wait to see. I don't know what's left out there that Dubai can come up and make a squad car out of, but I tell you what, speeders beware in Dubai, because it's a very tricky place to get away with anything if they've got this kind of firepower for their police department. Really cool stuff coming out of Dubai. Next up on the list, well, McLaren's in the news, and I don't know if any of you heard this, or if any of you are Grand Prix fans in the least, but the McLaren Grand Prix team, the Vodafone McLaren Grand Prix team, has actually just made a big announcement on what's going to power their automobiles moving forward. Now, McLaren's been up with Mercedes-Benz for a long time. In fact, if you can think of their road cars, Mercedes and McLaren actually collaborated on the SLR supercar that they built several years ago. And so McLaren and Mercedes have been in together for years and years. Well, that deal is going to be over in the year of 2015, as they have officially announced that they will be switching power to Honda. Now, hopefully, Honda's actually going to do all the development on the engine, and of course, McLaren's going to do the chassis, the drivers, and the management of the team. Hopefully it goes a lot better than the last time Honda was in Formula One, as it was a mitigated disaster. They did win one Grand Prix race, the one shining light in a wet race event that actually Jenson Button took a big win for Honda, and was a huge win for that team. Hopefully this little deal with McLaren's going to go a lot better, because it did in the past. I.e., do you remember back in the day when McLaren and Honda were winning championships like crazy, especially a couple of championships for a one Ayrton Senna. So, it's exciting times. Can't wait to see what Honda's going to do with the McLaren team. It'll be coming up in the year of 2015, and we're getting all new regulations on engines. I think the V8s are out, and I think they're going to go turbocharged in the next couple of years, so this quite possibly could fall right into Honda's wheelhouse. Be exciting to see what McLaren and Honda have in store. Next up on the list, pretty cool piece of kit from Aston Martin. As the 100th anniversary of Aston Martin, and a big party's been going on all year. 100 years of Aston Martin motoring. And they brought out this little piece of kit. This is the CC100, obviously, showing off the 100th anniversary. Now, it's kind of vague. It actually, the debut of the automobile is actually the date of this program. Actually, me taping this program. Pretty neat piece of kit. Kind of reminds you of the Sterling Moss edition from Mercedes-Benz. Obviously, no roof to this vehicle. Very little bit of a windscreen when it comes to this car. Vehicle's mainly made out of carbon fiber. They're talking like it's going to have a V12 engine. And it's going to do 0 to 60 in and around 4 seconds. Just a tick over 4 seconds. Now, I just kind of took that as it being that 6-liter V12 like in the V8 Vantage. Or, I should say V12 Vantage. Making 510 brake horsepower and 420 pounds-feet of torque. Could do 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, at least in the baby Aston. So, I'm assuming that's probably real close to what this vehicle is going to be. Now, the vehicle is pretty high-tech, a lot of carbon fiber and whatnot. The 6-speed manual transmission is actually a hydraulic actuated sequential gearbox that is manually done through the paddle shifters themselves. Like I said, the car is mainly made of carbon, and it is a slick piece of kit. Can't wait to see some official stuff when it comes to this automobile coming soon. But it's a pretty cool car. For 100th anniversary of Aston Martin, we'll see what kind of how much of these they're going to make, and not to mention how much this car is going to cost. And that's all I saw that I thought was worth talking about for this week's Motor Cars Enthusiast. If you want to jump on over to the Facebook page, the link's down in the show notes. I'll take you right over there. Also, we got a bunch of stuff coming up soon, and if you want to subscribe to the channel, you can get the new shots of the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.